Acknowledge me, for I come to enlighten you, not to entertain you. Standing before you is none other than Prince Ishane Sumandinyenya from Pakami High School. I stand in front of you as I present my speech entitled The Lessons and the Rules to Success. First lesson, always go after the things that you want. Let me tell you a story. One day, a friend of mine went for a run in Beirut City Center. On weekends, the Road Runners Organization hosts races. And on this particular day, after the race, they were giving out free food. They were giving out free donuts. So after our race, my friend and I approached this guy. Then there was a nice table laid out in front. Then there were donuts in front of the table. I said to my friend, let's get a donut. My friend said, nah, the line's too long. I said, bro, let's get a donut. He said, nah, the line's too long. Then I said for the third time, bro, free donut. Then he said, nah, I don't want to wait in line. That's when I realized, in this world, there are two types of people. There are people that see the thing that they want, then there are people that see the thing that prevents them from getting the thing that they want. I could only see the donut, he could only see the line. So that's when I realized, in life, you can go whatever you want. You can break the rules, you can do whatever you want. The only obstacle is that you should not get in the way of someone else getting whatever they want. So I went to the line, I squeezed in between two people. I went to the table, I grabbed myself a donut. And no one got mad at me. Because the rule is you can go whatever you want, just as long as you don't get in the way of someone getting whatever they want. That's rule number one. Now, lesson number two. Nelson Mandela is a very interesting case study in the leadership world. He was actually the son of a tribal chief. And he was asked one day, how did you become such a great leader? Then he said, he would often go to tribal meetings with his father. And from those tribal meetings, he remembers two things. One, they would always sit in a circle. Two, his father was always the last one to speak. You have been told your whole life that you need to learn to listen. But I would say you need to learn to be the last to speak. Because the skill of being the last to speak does two things. One, it gives you a chance to make everyone feel that they've been heard, that they have contributed. Two, it gives you a chance to hear what everyone else has to say before you render your opinion. So, my advice is always be the last to speak, so that you can understand the first speakers, you can understand where they're coming from, you can understand their view, and you can understand why they have this view that they have. So always practice to be the last to speak, because that's what Nelson Mandela did. Now, I go for my third and last lesson. It's actually based on a true story. My favorite one of my lessons. There was a former minister. He was invited to a packed stadium to present a speech. And as he stood on the podium, he had a mic on one hand, and he had an old plastic cup of juice in his left hand. And before he started his presentation, he smiled and he looked at this cup and he said, you know, last year I was still the minister. Last year I was invited to give a speech at this very stadium. And when they invited me to give a speech last year, they flew me here by a private jet. And when I landed on the airport, there was a limousine waiting for me to carry me from the airport to the stadium. When I arrived at the stadium, there was a man at the door who had a beautiful glass cup of juice, and he offered it to me and said, welcome, minister. He said, now I'm no longer the minister. I was invited to give a speech here. There was no private jet. I had to take a bus from my house to the stadium. And before I got to the stadium, I had to walk on foot 2 kilometers to get here. And when I got here, sweaty and tired, there was no man with a beautiful glass cup of juice, but they had an old plastic cup of juice that I got here. So the lesson, boys and girls, the lesson is, whatever respect, whatever love people show you, that love is not meant for you. That love is meant for the position that you hold. So never take it for granted. Always know where you come from and always know where you're going. The name is Prince Ishane Sumandinyenya. I hope my lessons have been an inspiration to you all. With that, I thank you.